Would you like to get a bit more vocabulary or feel more comfortable just before taking your ATPL course or ATPL training? You don't feel very confident with English, but you would like to do it in English. If this is your case, then keep watching that video. Hi and welcome back on my channel. My name is Aurélie and I'm an aviation English teacher. I teach to French pilots or future pilots how to use English, how to improve English and being more confident using it in aviation English to be an efficient communicator on the radio. Let's dive into today's topic. Vocabulary, being more comfortable with English just before starting your ATPL training. It can be quite scary and uncomfortable getting out of your comfort zone. You really want to go to take that ATPL, start your ATPL in order to actually reach your goal or live the dream of becoming a professional pilot. But English is not really comfortable. You're probably quite good at understanding as you are watching that video in English, but speaking English or reading or understanding technical vocabulary if you're a non-experienced pilot might be extremely stressful. It might block you into taking that decision to start your ATPL. So in this video, I'm just going to share a few tips that might help you to feel a bit more comfortable on taking that course. It's very important to understand that taking an ATPL in English does not mean you will improve your English skills. It's very useful to develop your vocabulary, but generally there's this kind of stage in between where you understand, you know the vocabulary, but you can't use it. This is generally what happens with the ATPL in English. So if your English level is not quite there yet, choosing the ATPL in English is a very good option, but it's not the solution to improve your English. In order to feel more comfortable, you can start with basic skills that you need to improve in order to understand your ATPL and reduce the risk of not understanding technical terms or taking the dictionary every 2 words, wasting your time doing that. What I recommend you to do is before starting your ATPL, you need to expose yourself to a lot of reading and, if possible, aviation reading. There are lots of different things that are available online. Free downloading, you have pretty big books that you can take. You don't have to understand everything, you just need to be exposed to it. Then you can see that some words are very often repeated. You can take notes, you can search for them, you can kind of create your own list of words that you see in like repetitive way in different contexts. Being exposed to aviation English will also help you to develop your knowledge on the topic, and then by definition, if you know a bit more about the topic, you feel more comfortable. So learning vocabulary is always through context. You should not start with PDF list of words. Does not work. But you need to learn in context. Then you need to identify what are the words which come regularly. Like, you have stuff which are quite accessible, like plane parts with pictures, engine parts, and there are lots of things like that you can actually understand just with images. One thing that is very important is that when you develop your vocabulary, try not to find absolutely the French or your own language translation, but using things like Google Image or using definitions will save you time in the future, because you will try to train your brain not to do translations, and you might not even know that word in French if you're not experienced pilots, which is probably the case if you haven't taken your ATPL. Then is it really necessary to get the translation of that word? Do you actually know that word in your own language? Probably not. Well, of course, I guess in like some plane parts you probably know them in French, but as soon as you get a bit more detailed, I personally don't know most of the words that I know in aviation English in my own language, and it does not stop me to teach it. Easy, simple, passive learning is quite efficient to help you to be confident and understand more. It can be through reading articles, reading books, reading blog posts on aviation, but it can also be watching documentaries and movies which are related to aviation. By starting like that and doing a lot of exposure, reading exposure, you will definitely increase your confidence, your comprehension, and your vocabulary. You know where to start?